Maya stepped out of her sleek silver car and walked toward the grocery store entrance. Her high heels clicked against the concrete as she checked her phone for the third time in 5 minutes. The digital clock on her screen showed 7:45 p.m. She had stayed late at the office again, finishing a presentation for tomorrow's client meeting. The automatic doors slid open with a soft whoosh. Cool air from inside the store hit her face as she grabbed a small shopping basket. Maya only needed a few things, some salad for dinner, yogurt for breakfast, and maybe a bottle of wine to help her unwind from another stressful day at the marketing firm. She walked through the aisles quickly, her mind still focused on work deadlines and upcoming projects. The store was not very crowded for a Thursday evening. A few families pushed their carts slowly, and some people hurried like her, grabbing items for quick dinners. Maya picked up a pre-made Caesar salad, some Greek yogurt, and a bottle of her favorite white wine. She glanced at her watch again. If she hurried, she could still catch the new episode of her favorite TV show. She headed toward the checkout lanes at the front of the store. Only 2 lanes were open. The first one had a long line with people buying large amounts of groceries for the week. The second lane looked shorter, so Maya walked over and stood behind a man and a small girl. The man looked to be in his early 30s. He wore a faded blue button-down shirt that had seen better days. His jeans had small holes near the knees, and his sneakers were old and worn. The little girl beside him could not have been more than 5 years old. She had curly brown hair tied in 2 ponytails and wore a pink dress that was a bit too big for her tiny frame. Maya pulled out her phone and started scrolling through emails while she waited. She half listened to the conversation happening in front of her. The cashier, a teenage boy with red hair, was scanning items and placing them in plastic bags. "That will be $42.68, the cashier said in a cheerful voice. Maya looked up from her phone when she heard the man in front of her speak. "Could you please run this card one more time?" the man asked. His voice was quiet and hopeful. The cashier took the worn debit card and swiped it through the machine again. After a few seconds, he shook his head. "I'm sorry, sir. It says declined again," the teenager said, looking uncomfortable. Maya watched as the man's shoulders dropped slightly. He looked down at his daughter, who was holding a small stuffed animal, a brown teddy bear with a red ribbon around its neck. "Daddy, can we still get Mr. Buttons?" the little girl asked, holding up the teddy bear. Her voice was sweet and innocent. The man knelt down to her level and spoke softly. "Lucy, remember what we talked about? We can only buy the things we really need today. But you promised if I was good at the doctor, I could pick something small," Lucy said. Her lower lip started to tremble. Maya found herself paying more attention to their conversation. She noticed the items on the conveyor belt: a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, some bananas, a box of cereal, peanut butter, and a bottle of children's medicine. Everything looked like basic necessities. The man stood up and turned to the cashier. "I'm really sorry about this. Could you please remove half of these items? I need to keep the medicine and the milk for sure." The cashier nodded and started to remove items. He took away the bananas, the cereal, and the peanut butter. The man pointed to the bread. "Keep the bread, but remove the bear, please," he said quietly. Lucy's face crumpled. "But Daddy." "I know, sweetheart. Maybe next time," the man said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled $20 bill and some coins. Maya watched this scene unfold and felt a mix of emotions. Part of her felt sorry for them, but another part of her felt annoyed. Why would someone come shopping if they did not have enough money? She had worked hard to build her successful career and never had to worry about declined cards or choosing between groceries. The man counted his money carefully. "Actually, could you remove the bread too? I want to make sure I have enough." Maya looked at the remaining items: milk, children's medicine, and that was it. The total came to $18.43. The man paid with his cash and had less than $2 in change. "Thank you," he said to the cashier. I'm sorry for the trouble. As he picked up his single bag of groceries, Lucy tugged on his shirt. Daddy, what about food for you? She asked. I'm not hungry tonight, baby girl. Let's go home, he replied. Something about his response made Maya feel strange. She watched as the man took Lucy's hand and started walking toward the exit. That was when Maya made a decision she would later regret. Excuse me, Maya called out, stepping out of line. The man turned around, looking surprised. Lucy hid slightly behind his leg, peeking out at Maya with curious eyes. Maya walked over to them with a smile that was not entirely kind. She reached into her expensive leather purse and pulled out her credit card. It was a platinum card that reflected the store's fluorescent lights. Here, Maya said, holding out the card. Use this. Consider it charity. She said the word charity with a slight smirk. In her mind, she was making a point. She expected the man to be too proud to accept help from a stranger, especially the way she had offered it. She thought he would refuse and walk away, and she could go back to her place in line feeling like she had taught him something about accepting handouts. But the man's reaction was not what she expected at all. His eyes widened with surprise, and for a moment he just stared at the card. Then he looked up at Maya's face, searching for some sign that she was joking. Are you serious? He asked. His voice was barely above a whisper. Maya hesitated for a second. She had not expected him to actually consider taking it. But she had gone too far to back down now. Sure, she said, still wearing her smug smile. Go ahead. Get what you need. The man's eyes filled with tears, and he blinked quickly to stop them from falling. I don't know what to say. This is incredibly kind of you. Maya felt a strange uncomfortable feeling in her stomach. The man's reaction was so genuine, so full of gratitude, that it caught her off guard. This was not how she had imagined this scene playing out. Miss, are you an angel? Lucy asked, stepping out from behind her father. Maya looked down at the little girl and felt even more uncomfortable. No, sweetie. I'm just helping out. The man held the credit card carefully, as if it were made of glass. Are you sure about this? I promise I'll only buy what we really need. I can get your information and pay you back. It's fine, Maya said quickly. She just wanted to finish this interaction and move on with her evening. The man turned to Lucy. Sweetheart, we can get the groceries we need now. And maybe Mr. Buttons too. Lucy's face lit up like a Christmas tree. Really, Daddy? Really? Yes, baby. Thanks to this very nice lady, the man said, looking at Maya with such genuine appreciation that she had to look away. Maya watched as they went back to the cashier. The man added back the items that had been removed, the bread, the bananas, the cereal, the peanut butter. He also picked up some apples, chicken for dinner, and a few other basic items. Lucy clutched her teddy bear happily. The man was very careful with his choices. He did not add anything expensive or unnecessary. He selected generic brands and looked at prices before putting anything in the cart. His total came to $53.12. When the cashier ran Maya's card, it went through without any problems. The man packed his groceries carefully in reusable bags he had brought with him. Thank you so much, he said to Maya as he finished packing. You have no idea what this means to my family. My name is Ben, and this is Lucy. I'm Maya, she replied, feeling more confused about her emotions with each passing moment. Miss Maya, thank you for helping Daddy buy food, Lucy said, hugging her teddy bear tight. Ben reached into his back pocket and pulled out a worn wallet. He took out a business card that looked like it had been handled many times. This is my information. I work at the auto shop downtown during the day and do cleaning at night. Please let me know how I can pay you back. I promise I will. Maya took the card without really looking at it. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. But as she said those words, she could see in Ben's face that it was a very big deal to him. God bless you, Ben said. Come on, Lucy. Let's go home and make dinner. As they walked away, Maya heard Lucy talking excitedly about her new teddy bear and asking if they could have chicken for dinner. Ben's responses were patient and loving, even though Maya could see the exhaustion in his movements. Maya went back to the checkout line and paid for her own groceries quickly. As she walked to her car, she kept thinking about Ben's reaction. She had expected pride or refusal, but instead she had seen pure gratitude and relief. Sitting in her car, Maya looked at Ben's business card for the first time. It was simple and plain, with his name and 2 phone numbers. Under his name, it said, "Father of 3, looking for extra work." For some reason, that simple description made Maya feel even more strange about what had just happened. She started her car and drove home, but she could not stop thinking about the look in Ben's eyes when she had handed him the credit card. Maya had intended her gesture to be a joke, a way to make a point about people who could not manage their money properly. But something about the whole encounter left her feeling unsettled and confused about her own motivations. Little did she know that in 24 hours, she would discover just how much her joke had meant to Ben and his family, and how much she would regret laughing about it. Maya woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. She had slept well after watching her favorite TV show and finishing the bottle of wine. The strange encounter at the grocery store felt like a distant memory. She had done a small good deed, and that was that. She made her usual morning coffee and checked her phone for emails. Her boss had sent 3 messages about the client presentation today. Maya smiled, feeling confident about the work she had prepared. While her coffee brewed, she decided to check her bank account on her phone app. She did this every morning as part of her routine. Maya was careful with money and liked to keep track of every expense. The app loaded, and Maya scrolled to her recent transactions. She expected to see the $53 from Ben's groceries and her own small purchase. Instead, her eyes widened in shock. The screen showed charge after charge, all from yesterday evening and throughout the night. Her heart started beating faster as she scrolled through the list. Payment to City Medical Center, $1,847. Payment to Riverside Elementary School, $340. Payment to Miller's Auto Sales, $2,400. Payment to Johnson Pediatric Clinic, $520. Payment to City Electric Company, $180. Payment to Metro Grocery Store, $67. Payment to Children's Clothing Outlet, $245. Payment to Miller's Pharmacy, $89. The list went on and on. Maya's hand started shaking as she added up the numbers in her head. Over $6,000. Gone. No, 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 Maya said out loud, nearly dropping her phone. She set her coffee mug down so hard that coffee splashed onto her kitchen counter. She called her bank immediately, her fingers fumbling with the numbers. First National Bank, this is Sarah, how can I help you? This is Maya Rodriguez. Someone has stolen my credit card and used it for thousands of dollars. I need to report fraud right now, Maya said, her voice rising with panic. Let me pull up your account, Ms. Rodriguez. Can you verify your social security number? Maya gave her information quickly. She paced around her kitchen while Sarah looked at her account. I see the charges you're referring to. Can you tell me about the last time you used your card? Last night at Metro Grocery Store for about $50. But all these other charges, I never made them. Someone stole my card information. Actually, Ms. Rodriguez, I'm looking at the signatures on these electronic receipts. They all appear to be authorized with the physical card present. The card was swiped or inserted, not used online. Do you still have your physical card? Maya ran to her purse and found her credit card still in her wallet. Her mind raced as she tried to understand what had happened. Ma'am, are you still there? Yes, I'm here. I have my card. But I don't understand how this happened. Is it possible you gave someone permission to use your card? Then it hit Maya like a truck. Ben. She had given Ben her actual credit card at the grocery store. She had assumed he would only use it for groceries, maybe $100 at most. She never imagined he would use it for anything else. I need to cancel my card right now, Maya said. I can cancel it, but these charges have already gone through. If you authorized someone to use your card, the charges would be valid. You would need to contact the person directly to request payment. Maya felt sick to her stomach. She had given Ben her card as a joke, expecting him to buy some groceries and nothing more. Now her savings account was nearly empty. After hanging up with the bank, Maya sat at her kitchen table trying to process what had happened. Her first emotion was pure anger. How dare Ben take advantage of her kindness like this? She had tried to help him, and he had stolen from her. Maya found Ben's business card and called the first number listed. It went straight to voicemail. You have reached Ben Martinez. I can't take your call right now, but please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Ben, this is Maya from last night. You need to call me back immediately. You used my credit card for thousands of dollars without my permission. This is theft. Call me back now, Maya said into the phone. She tried the second number. Same result. Voicemail. Maya was supposed to be getting ready for her important client presentation, but she could not focus on anything except getting her money back. She called in sick to work, something she had never done for personal reasons. For the next 2 hours, Maya tried calling Ben every 15 minutes. No answer. Her anger grew with each unanswered call. She imagined Ben laughing about how easy it had been to trick her. She felt stupid and used. Around noon, Maya decided to drive to the auto shop where Ben said he worked. She needed answers, and she needed them now. The auto shop was in a part of town Maya rarely visited. The buildings were older, and many of the shops looked like they had been there for decades. She found Martinez Auto Repair and parked outside. A man in his 50s wearing dirty overalls came out to greet her. Can I help you, miss? I'm looking for Ben Martinez. Does he work here? The man's expression became sad. Ben. Yeah, he works here, but he's not in today. He had to take his little girl to the doctor. Poor guy has been through so much lately. Maya felt confused. What do you mean? You a friend of his? He could use more friends right now. Ever since Maria died, Ben's been struggling to keep everything together. He works here during the day and cleans offices at night, trying to pay off all those medical bills. Medical bills? From when his wife was sick. Cancer took her about 6 months ago. Left Ben with 3 kids and mountains of debt. That man works harder than anyone I know, but it's never enough. Maya felt like the ground had shifted under her feet. His wife died. Yeah. Sweetest woman you ever met. She was sick for almost 2 years before she passed. Ben sold everything they owned to pay for treatments, but it wasn't enough. Now he's trying to keep the kids fed and housed while paying off what they still owe to the hospital. Maya thanked the man and walked back to her car in a daze. She sat in the parking lot trying to process this new information. Ben was not a thief taking advantage of her kindness. He was a desperate father trying to survive. She drove home and looked up Ben's name online. What she found made her feel even worse about her earlier anger. A local newspaper had written a story about Ben and his family 3 months ago. The headline read, "Local father works 2 jobs to support children after wife's death." The article told Ben's story in detail. His wife Maria had been diagnosed with cancer when their youngest child was just 2 years old. Ben had used all their savings and taken out loans to pay for treatments. When Maria died, Ben was left with 3 children, ages 3, 5, and 7, and over $30,000 in medical debt. The article mentioned that Ben had applied for assistance programs, but there was a waiting list. He worked 16 hours a day to try to cover rent, food, childcare, and medical payments. The family had been evicted from their apartment 2 months ago and were staying with Ben's elderly mother in her small house. Maya found more information online. There was a crowdfunding page someone had set up for Ben's family, but it had only raised $800. There were comments from people who knew Ben, all talking about what a good father and person he was. She found photos of Ben with his 3 children. Lucy, the little girl from the grocery store, had 2 older brothers. In the photos, all the children looked happy despite their difficult circumstances. Ben looked exhausted but was always smiling with his kids. Maya realized that every charge on her credit card had been for his family's basic needs. The medical center payment was probably for outstanding bills from his wife's treatment. The school payment was likely for fees or supplies his children needed. The auto payment was probably for a used car so he could get to his 2 jobs more easily. She thought about how carefully Ben had shopped at the grocery store, choosing only necessities even when he thought he had access to more money through her card. He had been desperate, but he had not been greedy. Maya spent the rest of the afternoon reading everything she could find about Ben's situation. She learned that his wife Maria had been a teacher before she got sick. She had loved children and volunteered at the local animal shelter in her free time. The couple had been married for 8 years and were known in their community as people who helped others whenever they could. One article mentioned that even while Maria was sick, the family had continued to volunteer at a soup kitchen during holidays. Another story talked about how Ben had organized a charity drive for other families affected by cancer, even while dealing with his own family's crisis. The more Maya learned, the worse she felt about her initial reaction that morning. She had assumed the worst about Ben without knowing anything about his real situation. Her charitable gesture at the grocery store had not been charity at all. It had been condescending and mean-spirited. Maya realized that Ben had not taken advantage of her. In his desperate situation, he had seen her credit card as a miracle. He had probably stayed up all night using it to pay the most urgent bills and expenses for his children. She thought about Lucy asking if Maya was an angel. In Ben's eyes, Maya probably had seemed like divine intervention, someone sent to help his family in their darkest time. And Maya had given him the card as a joke, expecting to teach him a lesson about pride. As evening approached, Maya felt a deep sense of shame about her behavior and her initial anger that morning. Ben had not called her back, probably because he was scared about what she might say or do. He was probably expecting her to call the police or demand immediate repayment of money he did not have. Maya looked at her bank account again. The charges had left her with less than $1,000 in her checking account, but she was not in financial danger. She had a good job, no dependents, and savings in other accounts. The money Ben had spent represented a temporary inconvenience for her, but it had probably saved his family from disaster. For the first time since discovering the charges, Maya began to think about this situation differently. Maybe her careless gesture had become something much more important than she had ever intended. Maya could not sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Lucy's face asking if she was an angel. She thought about Ben working 2 jobs, trying to keep his family together after losing his wife. The shame she felt was overwhelming. The next morning, Maya called in sick to work again. She had to find Ben and talk to him face to face. She could not leave things the way they were. She drove to the auto shop first, but the same man from yesterday told her Ben had not come in. He looked worried. Ben never misses work unless something is really wrong with one of the kids. I hope everything is okay, the man said. Maya asked for the address of the cleaning company where Ben worked at night. The man hesitated but eventually gave her the information when Maya explained she was trying to help. The cleaning company was located in a small office building downtown. Maya spoke to the manager, a woman named Mrs. Peterson. Ben Martinez? Yes, he works for us, but he didn't show up last night either. That's very unusual for him. He's one of our most reliable employees, Mrs. Peterson said. Is everything all right? Maya realized that Ben was probably avoiding work because he was afraid of what might happen when she reported the credit card charges. He was probably scared and did not know what to do. Maya remembered that Ben had mentioned staying with his mother. She spent the rest of the morning calling different Martinez families listed in the phone book. On her 7th try, an elderly woman answered. Hello. Hi, I'm looking for Ben Martinez. I'm a friend of his, Maya said. There was a long pause. Ben is not taking calls right now. He's very upset about something. Are you the lady from the credit card? Maya's heart sank. Yes, I am. I really need to talk to him. It's important. Hold on, the woman said. Maya heard muffled voices in the background. After several minutes, the woman came back to the phone. Ben says he's sorry for what he did. He knows it was wrong. He's trying to figure out how to pay you back, but he doesn't have the money right now. Please don't call the police. He has children to take care of. I'm not calling the police, Maya said quickly. I just want to talk to him. Can I come over? Another long pause. I suppose that would be okay. But please be kind. Ben is a good man who made a mistake because he was desperate. The elderly woman gave Maya the address. It was in a neighborhood Maya had never visited, about 20 minutes from her apartment. Maya drove through streets lined with small, older houses. Many had toys in the front yards and cars that had seen better days. She found the address and parked outside a tiny yellow house with a small front porch. Before she could knock, the front door opened. Ben stood there looking exhausted and afraid. He had dark circles under his eyes, and his clothes looked like he had slept in them. Maya, he said quietly. I've been expecting you. Hi, Ben. Can we talk? Ben nodded and stepped outside, closing the door gently behind him. I don't want the kids to hear this conversation. They've been through enough. They sat on the front porch steps. Ben stared at his hands and spoke first. I know what I did was wrong. I know you only meant for me to buy groceries. I took advantage of your kindness, and I'm sorry. I've never done anything like that before in my life. Maya looked at Ben's profile as he spoke. She could see the weight of guilt and exhaustion in every line of his face. Ben, I need you to know something. When I gave you my credit card at the store, it wasn't really kindness. I was being mean. I expected you to refuse it, and I wanted to make a point about people asking for help. I was judging you without knowing anything about your situation. Ben looked up at her with surprise. What do you mean? I found out about your wife, about what you've been going through. I read the newspaper articles and learned about your family's situation. I understand now why you used my card the way you did. Ben's eyes filled with tears. Maria was everything to me and the kids. When she got sick, I would have done anything to save her. I sold our house, our car, everything we owned. But it wasn't enough. And now I'm trying to raise 3 kids alone while paying off debts that feel impossible. Maya felt her own eyes getting wet. Tell me about that night. Tell me what happened after you left the grocery store. Ben was quiet for a moment, collecting his thoughts. When you gave me that card, I couldn't believe it. Lucy had been asking for that teddy bear for weeks. She doesn't understand why we can't buy things like we used to when Mommy was alive. Getting those groceries and her bear made her so happy. He continued, but when we got home, I got a call from the electric company. They were going to shut off our power the next day if I didn't pay the bill. Then the school called about fees for my older son's school supplies. And I had a notice that our car payment was late. Maya listened without interrupting. I sat up all night looking at your credit card and thinking about my kids. I knew it was wrong, but I thought maybe this was God's way of helping us. I was so tired of telling my children no about everything. I was tired of choosing between medicine and food, between keeping the lights on and buying school supplies. Ben wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I used your card to pay the most urgent bills first. The electric bill so the kids wouldn't lose power. The medical bills that were going to collections. The car payment so I wouldn't lose my way to get to work. I bought the kids some clothes because they've been wearing the same things for months. Maya realized that Ben had not spent a single dollar on himself. Every charge had been for his children or for bills that affected his family's basic survival. I kept thinking I would find a way to pay you back quickly. I thought maybe I could pick up extra cleaning jobs or sell something. But when morning came, I realized how much money I had spent and how impossible it would be to pay you back anytime soon. Is that why you haven't been going to work? Maya asked. Ben nodded. I was afraid you would call the police. I was afraid they would arrest me and my kids would end up in foster care. My mother is too old to take care of 3 children permanently. Maya sat quietly for several minutes, processing everything Ben had told her. She thought about her comfortable apartment, her successful career, and how different their lives were. She thought about how she had planned to use Ben's situation to make herself feel superior. Ben, I need to apologize to you, Maya said finally. What I did at the grocery store was not kindness. It was cruel. I was making fun of your situation without understanding it. You didn't take advantage of me. I gave you something carelessly, and you used it to try to save your family. Ben looked confused. I still took money that wasn't mine. You took money that I gave you. I handed you my credit card. Maybe I didn't understand what that meant, but you didn't steal it from me. Maya pulled out her phone and showed Ben her bank account. Look, Ben. This money you spent. It's not going to ruin my life. I have a good job and savings in other accounts. For me, this is inconvenient. For you and your kids, it was apparently life-saving. Ben stared at the phone screen. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm saying that I don't want you to pay me back. I'm saying that my stupid joke accidentally became something important. I'm saying that maybe this was supposed to happen this way. Ben shook his head. I can't accept that. I have to pay you back somehow. What if there was another way? Maya asked. What if instead of paying me back, you helped me understand something? What do you mean? Maya had been thinking about this since yesterday afternoon. I've spent my whole life focused on my career and my own success. I've never really thought about how I could help other people. Meeting you and your family has shown me that there are people right here in my own city who are struggling with things I can't even imagine. She continued, what if we worked together to help other families like yours? What if your experience could prevent other people from going through what you've been through? Ben looked skeptical. I don't have money or resources to help anyone else. I can barely take care of my own kids. But you have something more valuable than money. You understand what it's like to need help. You know which resources exist and which ones don't. You know what families really need when they're in crisis. Maya had been researching charitable organizations online since learning about Ben's situation. She had discovered that there were very few programs specifically designed to help families dealing with medical debt and sudden job loss. I want to start a foundation, Maya said. Something that helps families who are struggling after medical emergencies or job loss. Something that provides immediate help with bills and expenses while families get back on their feet. Ben was quiet for a long time. Why would you want to do that? Because meeting you taught me something I should have learned a long time ago. I learned that giving to feel superior to someone isn't really giving at all. Real giving means understanding what people actually need and providing it without judgment. Maya thought about how she had felt at the grocery store, how she had enjoyed feeling like she was better than Ben. You helped me realize that I've been living a very selfish life. I want to change that. The front door of the house opened, and Lucy peeked out. When she saw Maya, her face lit up. Miss Maya. You came to visit us. Lucy ran over and hugged Maya's legs. Maya felt her heart melt. Hi, Lucy. How is Mr. Buttons? He's good. He slept with me last night. Daddy says we might have to give him back though. Maya looked at Ben. Why would she have to give him back? Ben looked embarrassed. I thought you might want me to return everything I bought with your card. Lucy is not giving up Mr. Buttons, Maya said firmly. That bear belongs to her. Lucy grinned and ran back inside to tell her grandmother the good news. Over the next hour, Maya met Ben's other 2 children and his mother. She saw how the family lived in the small house, how Ben had given his children the only bedroom while he slept on the couch. She saw the pictures of Maria throughout the house and began to understand the love this family had shared. By the time Maya left that afternoon, she and Ben had agreed to work together on creating a foundation to help families in crisis. Ben would help identify families who needed assistance and work with Maya to develop programs that actually addressed people's real needs. 6 months later, the Maria Martinez Foundation had helped 12 families avoid eviction, paid medical bills for 8 families, and provided emergency assistance to dozens of others. Ben had become the foundation's full-time director, and his children had moved into a small house of their own. Maya had learned that her moment of cruel judgment had accidentally become the most important thing she had ever done. She had also learned that sometimes the people we think need our help are actually the ones who end up helping us the most. The foundation's motto, suggested by Lucy, was painted on the wall of their office: everyone can be someone's angel. Maya smiled every time she read it, remembering a little girl who had asked if she was an angel, and how that question had changed everything.